to
Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and welcome, TGIF. Thank goodness. I don't know why I say that. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me. They're all the same all the days. Anyway, welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Drink it if you got it. Excuse me. I've been waiting for this. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, good to see everybody that's here so far. Guess they just finished, like right on the second again. Wow, they're getting real good over there. Let's give people a chance to get through the door, get settled down, get their coffee, and away we go. Away we go. Interesting times. Interesting times. And I talked about it last night after we talked about the new South Park food pyramid. And I got a big kick out of that when they came and they put the thing upside down like Eric Cartman did. And if you have never seen that episode of South Park, you got to watch it. It's terrific. Also the one that they did about Ozempic and Cartman. Yeah, it's been an eventful week in the food and nutrition national news. It's entertaining as hell. I watched a few more videos early this morning on Fox News, had some replays. They're on YouTube. And they interviewed people like Jillian Michaels, and at least the ones I saw this morning showed people who were so excited about it. And if you were at the live stream last night, you know that I think nothing's going to change. There are some good things. It'd be interesting to see what they do with them. I think the best chance of this thing actually doing some good, and again, the jury's still out, I need to see the results, is from the simple fact that the national food guidelines supposed to direct what they feed the military, the school kids, what they feed in hospitals. And not that I want to go back to the hospital to find out if they did any good, but when I look back at my hospital visit from my stroke, the food choices and the food advice and nutrition advice was deadly and horrendous. I don't know how they're going to re-educate all the nutritionists and dietitians, because a single one least informed individual that came and spoke to me in the hospital was the dietitian. Had absolutely clueless about what was healthy eating or not, and even had the balls to lecture me about the fact that I told her that I eat mostly meat. And this is not even a doctor. This is just some misinformed dietitian. Now, it's not her fault. She went to dietitian school. They taught her a curriculum that was stupid and destructive. And to make sure she knew it, they gave her a test and certified her as being stupid and destructive and parroting all the crap that been doing all the damage. So you can't blame her, I guess. But the problem with these people is that they're not open. They don't use their eyes. They don't recognize patterns. They don't wonder and have no curiosity as to why aren't we getting skinny and healthy following all this advice for the past 60 or 70 years. Nobody, somehow it all slipped by silently. At any rate, it is a topic that we'll probably be hearing a lot more about. I think it has some good points. I'm going to summarize just real quick. I don't want to talk about it all day, but it does have some good points. Unfortunately, the media is doing their thing. They're doing the bidding of the food and drug companies, the source of all the revenue, their biggest sponsors. And on all the news shows, on all the major networks, the message that we're getting from these phony TV doctors is that we shouldn't be eating saturated fat, even though the government says it's okay now. And that's what they talk about. I noticed this morning that they still recommend, this is the bad news, 2 to 4 servings of whole grains a day. They have not stopped recommending all of the plant-based foods. There's no warnings in there about stop eating spinach smoothies or anything that really is causing problems. So we basically have a recommended diet now. This is a summary of it. And it's not as if anybody in the general public is going to even notice, because they don't pay attention to this stuff. Kind of like most of us don't pay attention to the sport of squash. Now, I'm sure if you're a squash fan, you're up on all the intricacies of the game. You know all the players. You know their stats. You know the teams. You live squash. Squash is your life. But to the other 99.9% of the people in this world who could give a shit about squash, most of whom don't even know what it is, if they change the rules of the game of squash, it wouldn't matter to you. You wouldn't know about it. And that's pretty much how the American public treats the diet advice. It's not diet advice. It has nothing to do with the food pyramid. It is now our culture. We've been doing this so long, this is ingrained in us, and changing the recommendations is about as useful as making documentaries about carnivore and expecting theaters that cater to the average American public to pay money to exhibit those things. So unless they align with the culture, like all the documentaries extolling the virtues of healthy foods and fruits and vegetables, or meat-based documentaries, never get out of the church and are seen only by the choir in most cases, like the squash videos, which there probably are a few. So in that respect, I don't see much change coming, except there's a chance that if the current sentiment in Washington about eating healthier doesn't get thrown out in 2008 and the other side gets in and they reappoint all of those people that we now have in the FDA who do advocate for healthy eating the right way, they did the best they could this time. Likelihood is they're going to be gone in 3 years. So unless in the next 3 years we can actually integrate this into the hospitals and the schools and the military, now it'll be gone. And the commercial interests certainly will not have gone away. And it's going to be business as usual. It's going to be interesting over the next couple of years to check the packaging into the aisles of Sam's Club and see how much more new deception and propaganda in labeling, how many pretty new logos they have telling us that their product conforms, is now officially healthy according to the U.S. government. And they'll slap it all over the packages. They'll put it in their advertisements. I'll believe it when I see it. And I hate to be that much of a pessimist, but I am a realist. So I'm not a pessimist. I am hopeful, but I'm disappointed. That's my take on it. I wish I could get excited. I wish I could get excited. I watched RFK's speech yesterday, and I talked about that last night, and I'll briefly mention that. His entire speech laid out all the problems, how much money we're spending, the epidemic levels of chronic diseases, and they're very aware of the problems. And they talked about the new food pyramid, the new recommendations. They didn't talk about eating more meat. They did not. So the things that really needed to be said, the things that are important to us, eating a high fat, that's the key to the success of carnivore, is high fat. Without a high fat carnivore diet, you're going to get protein poisoning if you don't eat carbs. Nobody can eat 100% of their nutrition of only protein. It'll wreck you. You need a high-fat diet. It's the fat that has the nutrition. It's the fat that triggers satiety. None of that was mentioned or even included in the recommendations. There's no minimum daily amount of fat, but they do still have recommended amounts of servings of all the other stuff. The one message that seems to be getting out is this food pyramid tells us we're not getting enough protein. Well, where does it tell us that? Because it now doesn't demonize meat. So it doesn't promote meat. It doesn't promote fat. The basic change is it demonizes them less. But in no way, shape, or form has this thing a chance of changing the American mindset that meat causes heart attacks and fat makes you fat. And calories are important, and you got to exercise until you drop. Nothing has changed. The politics behind this new food pyramid are very understandable and would take hours to discuss, and nobody probably cares. But at least they're making an attempt. And I think those that really wanted to fix things are probably very frustrated that they couldn't take it any further than the small improvement that they were able to do. So that's my little monologue on the new food pyramid. Prove me wrong. God, I would love to be wrong. Are you kidding me? I'd love to be wrong. Well, who's here this morning? Mary M chimed in early, and Tuka chimed in early, and Mike Sealy in Tampa. How are you? Good to see you, Michael. B-Matt, Brian, how you doing this morning, my friend? Good to see you. Mike's father in Melbourne is here. Brian Dish is here. If you got any questions or your comments or anything you want to talk about, please, QQQ. You know the drill in the chat. Brenda McIntyre, how you doing, Brenda? Barry Simon. Hiya, Barry. Got an email from Barry this morning with a comment on Kiltsy's guest. And it is perplexing. And Barry said, because she was Natasha Love, just I think a terrific woman. She was nervous as hell. You could tell that she's not used to doing this kind of stuff. And she was frustrated and flustered, speaking. And she said at the end of it, I had it all planned out in my head, but none of it came out that way. Well, that's what happens when you get nervous. But she had a lot of heart, that woman. She went from 400 pounds and lost 200 pounds. And she's in the medical profession. She worked in a doctor's office. And Barry sent me an email this morning and commented. She says, it's hard to believe that working at a doctor's office with a doctor all day long, weighing 400 pounds, that the doctor would not be able to help you or wouldn't think there was anything wrong with that or unhealthy. Barry, that's a brilliant observation, and it's absolutely true, but it's not unique. It's the norm. It's the norm in the medical community. Have you seen the shape of the people that work in the hospitals by and large? In the rehab hospital where I was, most of the women especially, but many of the men working there, the nurses, not so much the physical therapists, because they were young and athletic, but the nursing staff was big and unhealthy and overweight and couldn't get to the food truck selling garbage out in the parking lot in front of the hospital every day at break time. And I didn't know that food truck was out there until the day I drove back to the hospital to return the walker that they loaned me, because they were supposed to get me a walker and it never got to me. It was supposed to be sent to my home. So here I am, wheelchair bound. I can't walk, can't do anything, and they're sending me home where I have to climb up steps to get in the house and walk around in the house. And I needed a walker. So I ordered one from Amazon when I found out they weren't going to get it, and I wasn't going to get it for a couple of days. So I said to them, I had a walker assigned to me in the rehab place, and I said, I need to take this home with me. I'll get it back to you when I'm done with it. And they agreed, and I signed. I mean, we're talking about a walker here. Think about this. You can imagine what my hospital bill was at rehab. The total rehab was close to $30,000 for 18 days in there. The walker on Amazon was like $29. So I ordered one. I said, for $29, I'm going to have a walker. So they loaned me this, and I signed my life away. It was like buying a car, all these forms, bar this, return it, for a $29 walker, which they probably buy in bulk and get cheaper than that. Went home with the walker, and I had to return it. So when I started driving again, one of the first road trips I took, was to return the walker triumphantly back to the rehab hospital, wheel me out, walk back in on my own 2 feet, even though I still needed a walker to walk at the time. I had one of these nice rollator things with the wheels on it. So I took the walker back and I pull in the parking lot and I notice right up against the building, there's a food truck. A food truck outside of the rehab hospital. The line, it was lunchtime, so the line formed at the food truck must have had 30 or 40 people in it. It just snaked away from it. And they were all of the unhealthy employees of the rehab hospital. The best they could do was go out and buy food from a food truck. And how, when Barry wrote me that email this morning, and I said, well, this is nothing. You go into any hospital and look at the people that work there. Look at the doctors. How many of these doctors are in such bad shape? So no, it's not hard to understand. It is a problem. It is a problem. Louis chimed in. I see you over there. I'm late, but I'm here. Good morning, Louis. How are you? How are you? And Barry Simon said, Peter says, the nurse at my doctor's office is huge, morbidly obese. My doctor is also overweight and unhealthy, and they want to give me health advice and a statin. Well, that's when you just have to finally take your own fate in your own hand and either fire them or ignore them. And that's pretty much what I do with the VA. I have a use for them. They serve to provide me medical care, and if they can't provide it, they pay for it. And the only medical care I really need anymore is emergency care, and the VA cannot provide any of that to me. So that means that anytime I have a trauma or a need to be taken to the hospital, they pay 100% of it. So I got to stay in their good graces. I am curious about some blood tests. So I get it, my blood tested once a year for one reason only. One reason. It's all I'm interested in. What do I need to supplement? How are my electrolytes? How's my vitamin D level? The one thing I never have to worry about being a carnivore is my vitamin B12. It's off the chart. But electrolytes and vitamin D is my prime concern. It never hurts to get a PSA, which is a prostate-specific antigen, which is a measure of whether you might, although I don't know how accurate it is, have prostate cancer. Not a bad thing to know for men. But once you get to be close to 80, you can pretty well stop worrying about colon cancer if you don't have it yet, or prostate cancer if you don't have it yet. And I don't have either. So if symptoms occur, I'll get it checked out. But what happens, all doctors today have programs. They want you to be basically a subscriber to their program. All the big health insurance companies send you magazines every month. They have programs they want you to join that requires more and more and more turning over your autonomy to somebody else to monitor and regulate your health on a daily basis, including making sure you get adequate exercise, telling you what to eat, even having classes. They become your new mommy and daddy, basically. And doctors, my dentist, I was at my dentist the other day, got my teeth cleaned. They have all these different kinds of programs now. They want to put you down, 6 visits a year to do this, to do that, to clean this, to recommend that, to rebuild this. They want you on the rolls. They want to be your daddy and your mommy. That would be great if they were actually doing something that was correct and not just prescribing the drugs and giving you the advice that is responsible for the reason we're all here right now. So I tend to avoid that stuff, Peter. I try not to insult these doctors. You know me, sometimes I can't help it. I fired a few of them. I've told them they were incompetent. I told them what YouTube videos they need to start watching and open their eyes. One of them I even told them, when you're as healthy as I am, come back and talk to me. I know I'm a bad man. I'm a bad man. But it is absolutely criminal what they're doing to us. But it's been going on long enough where it's no longer common sense to most people. It's now culture. It's ingrained in our culture. It's like a religion. Have faith. Don't question anything about it. You got to have faith. So when anybody questions the validity of all the nutritional advice that we get from these so-called professionals, they may as well say, have faith. I know what I'm talking about, so you need to trust me. And that's the point where you got to run like hell. Unfortunately, you still need them for some things, and they're still good for a lot of things. Modern medicine is a miracle with some of the things they can do, but most of those things amount to mechanics and plumbing. They can put pieces together, sew this to that, cut this out when it's bad, sew you back up again. That's great. And the advances in surgery and those things, most of that is used to treat the things that go wrong with you because of the terrible metabolic advice they give. So they profit from it both ways. They got you in there paying for advice that's going to give you cancer and tumors, and then they get you when you go in there to get the cancer and tumors cut out. It's like a plumber intentionally leaving something leaking in your house and has it in with the carpet restoration company so that when the thing floods the carpet, he gets a commission from the company that comes and sucks the water out of your carpet. It's a scam, top to bottom, but we still need him. And you just can't walk away completely. You have to still have your medical treatment options open to you, but you gotta stay away from the ones that are doing the harm. And that is something we know, but most people don't know because their culture teaches them to respect doctors as some kind of demigods, and that white coat and that stethoscope is like a priest in robes. You know, how can you not respect the guy? In my case, the rabbi. I don't know. Who got here first at 7? That's already kind of too late for that, but we'll do it anyway because this show has no structure, no form, no pre-planned agenda. 1 hour of rambling and drinking coffee. You guys can chat with each other. Abby Audrey says, question, Mitch, what do you think of doctors that tell their patients that if they pay a certain fee, that they would sit with them a little longer? Well, that's kind of the new paradigm of of our whole economy, isn't it? The airlines want to start charging you for using the overhead bins. Now, I heard that on the news. They've been charged. When I used to fly, when I was younger and used to fly, you couldn't carry the amount of suitcases it was too heavy that you were allowed to check. There was no extra charge for checked baggage. There was no extra charge for anything. They fed you food on the plane. They didn't come down and sell you dinner. What's it going to be, sir, the meat or the fish? Now, I'm surprised they don't sell the peanuts by the peanut. How many peanuts would you like, sir? Oh, I'll have 5 peanuts. Okay, that'll be 50 cents. Thank you. Can I scan a QR code? People buy cars today. They buy a brand new Mercedes. They pay $120,000 for it. The Mercedes comes with all kinds of gadgets and gizmos and heated seats. They then find out that some of those gadgets are subscriptions. No kidding, people. I mean, you don't believe me? Look it up. They give you the first 6 months, especially all that communication stuff, like Blue Link or that kind of stuff. Usually they give you a year, or the satellite radio. They give you a year, and then it shuts off, and you got to pay for it now. And it's usually pretty expensive. Well, Mercedes makes you pay if you want to use the heated seats in the $120,000 car that you just bought. You got to pay extra for the subscription. Honest, hand to God, look it up. We're becoming a subscription, a pay-as-you-go, a rent-to-own society. So it doesn't surprise me that they're doing the same thing in some doctor's offices. Oh, our standard visit, sir, only includes 4 minutes and 32 seconds. If you want any extra, it's going to cost you X amount. Why not? So, Robbie, it doesn't shock me or surprise me in the least. And we're headed towards an economy, and it's rapidly approaching, where you own nothing. Rent or subscribe to everything. Maybe that's not bad. How many times I say to myself, I got this very, not expensive, but expensive for me, beautiful car, big Palisade. It's almost brand new. I got it right before I had my stroke. So right now it's only got about 1,500 miles on this thing. It's a year old. I love the thing. I'm proud of it. I like all the gadgets. I mean, it's the car of my dreams. But I don't need it, really. And I say to myself, well, between the insurance and the lease payment on it, it's a lot of money every month. Could I possibly spend that much money if I just used Uber to go everywhere I had to go? Now, I am going to drive over next month to Sarasota to Kiltsa's thing. And I wouldn't do that in an Uber. But I take very few road trips where I need a car. I could probably live with it, just use an Uber. I don't know if I would feel comfortable doing that, but I have that little mental exercise with myself, trying to see how much money I need to save. And at right now, I basically leave it as an option, something I could do if I needed to do it, but I'm not ready to give up the kind of life that we have. And I don't live in an urban area where I could live without a car because there's public transportation available, buses and subways and things like that. Like when I lived in Philadelphia, my grandfather, who was a fairly wealthy man, never once in his life touched the steering wheel of a car. He didn't drive. They took taxi cabs everywhere. It's just what they did, or the subway, or the bus. The world is going to keep changing, and the rate of change accelerates like crazy. So, first one in this morning, way back when, and Robbie, you missed it. Robbie, 6:59, Lambs, 7 o'clock. So Lambs got you this morning, Robbie. You're a little millisecond early. Congratulations, guys. Peter chimed in and Brian Dish chimed in. Don Shiger chimed in. Good to see you all. So I see some questions are starting to come up. We still got some time. Let me see if I can find those. This is Rose Della Husseini. Wow, that's quite a name, Rose. Good morning to you in the UK. UK. I did the lion diet for 6 months and cured so many conditions. 56, and can list them for you. Wow, wow, wow. I didn't even know there were 56 different conditions, Rose. That's fabulous. Congratulations. I see Spanky Golf Addicts in the house. How you doing? Rick's in the house. Hi, Rick. Rick, I'm happy to echo Rick's report on the fact that Milton is doing great. Hope he's still doing good. He's telling me, Rick, I do most of my shopping on a bike. Well, right now I'm not in bike riding shape, Rick, unfortunately. I need my car. And I've done this so many times. I lease a brand new car every 2.5 years or so. I take 3-year leases, but always trade it in before the lease is up on a brand new one. You can do that. A lot of people don't know you can do that. You know, it still has a trade-in value, and after 2.5 years, that trade-in value is, if you're a good negotiator and you bought the right car that doesn't depreciate like hell, you can generally negotiate yourself out of your lease and into a brand new car with the same lease payment and maybe even a more expensive car, and no money down, no money, zero, just swap cars, adios. And I've been doing that for 15 years. And the one time I did buy a car, it ended up costing me so much more. I don't do that again. It's the cheapest way because you never have to worry about your car breaking or car repairs. And that's the beauty of it. You have no other expenses. You don't pay sales tax on the car. You pay sales tax each month on the amount of the lease. So when you traded it in and you get back, they give you 70% of its new cost back. You have not paid sales tax on that money. Whereas if you had owned the car and traded it in, you lose all the sales tax you paid on the full price of the car. So that saves me thousands of dollars in sales tax, because this for you, sales tax is a big chunk of change on a new car. That's another advantage of leasing. You can trade in a car you own and get a credit on the sales tax of a new car, but I don't know. Leasing in the long run costs me less. It's going to cost money to drive a car. If you're going to spend the money, instead of spending it on repairs, new tires, out of warranty crap, with the risk of a transmission blowing up, just spend it on the lease. You know what it costs you. You never have to worry about it because it's always under warranty. Rick says Milton is nicer, but still lively. Okay, we're talking about Milton. Buffett Danny says, I was watching South Park last night. It was Kyle singing his I'm Hebrew song on Christmas. You know, that's a great bit on South Park. And you can't take it seriously. You can't take it's such great commentary on the absurdities of the human condition and our culture, Danny. Anti-Semitism. And they've got that in spades in South Park with little old Eric Cartman. And of course, Kyle's the Jewish kid. And the shenanigans there, you would think that would be very insulting to Jewish people. Because the way old little Eric acts is very common in this world, especially with the anti-Semitism that we keep seeing. I look at it differently. I think that just having that kind of behavior in your face and seeing just how absurd and far people will push it as an excuse to do mean things and hate people is a good thing, And I'm glad they have stuff like that in there, along with all the other absurd things, like Ozempic and the upside down food pyramid. So the commentary in South Park is some of the best political and social commentary, even though I feel that the writers, like most of Hollywood, still have a little left-leaning bent. Let's see here. Looking for questions. Look, we got 20 minutes left. Wow. No real rants today. Spanky says, good morning, all. It's 15 glasses of prep down for my colonoscopy. Good for you. Good for you, Spanky. I've watched a few of these videos. There's one glass to go. Honestly, was not as bad as I thought it would be. Colonoscopy in 3.5 hours. Well, good luck. You're over the worst part of it. I've had 3 of them. I wanted 50, wanted 60, wanted 70. No polyps, no problems. They didn't even, at 70, they didn't do what they did the previous years and say, you probably should get another one when you're 80. They didn't even say that because it's pretty well accepted right now that once you get to 80 years old, and I'm painfully close to that. I'm like 4 months from my 79th birthday, so not far, not long. Don't worry, there's a whole list of medical procedures and things they tell you, like if you're over 65, do not get these medical tests anymore. And I think that's a good idea because there are risks in a colonoscopy. If they perforate your bowel, it can kill you if they don't get you to surgery real quick. You can get sepsis. It's very dangerous. So it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And you got to sign that big release before they do it, letting them off the hook if it does happen. So you wouldn't have to sign that if it never happened. Greg Smith is here. Hi, Greg. Right down at the bottom of the chat. 4 question marks. Where you been, Greg? You weren't here last night. Must be busy driving or something. I have talked extensively on my feelings on the new food pyramid. And you must not have heard it. So I hope you watch the replays if you get a chance. In summary, I'm nonplussed. Nonplussed. It's interesting, but in my opinion, and for a lot of reasons, nothing's going to really change in the near future. You're not going to see junk food disappear from the shelves at a 7-Eleven. So it's going to be interesting to see what maybe new laws come out. But most of these new laws that they make, they give you 2-3 years to comply with them. So I don't think in the immediate future we're going to see anything. The overall thrust of it, Greg, is it's still a plant-based diet. They still told you to eat whole grains and fruits and vegetables. They didn't tell you to eat fat, which is what you need to eat, which is the one major mistake that everybody's making. The one major mistake, the most important thing, the one fix that would cure people's health and stop them from binging and eating all this crap. The one thing. The one rule of carnivore that makes it work. The main rule of carnivore that makes it work, and I said this earlier in this live stream, is eating a high animal fat diet. 70% of your nutrition should be eaten in the form of animal fat. There's nothing in these food guidelines that comes close to even whispering at a hint of that. And yet it is the one rule that would change everything. We couldn't implement it because where the hell's all this animal fat going to come from right now? We're not set up as a society. So it would be impossible for everybody to all of a sudden be trying to eat 70% of their calories from fat. So yes, the new food guidelines maybe will help a little bit in the military and hospitals and other things that are mandated, because maybe they'll stop serving toaster pastries and Coca-Cola in school lunches. Maybe. And pizza. But I doubt it. I doubt it. I really doubt it. And I'm not surprised. It's not that I had my hopes up and I was dashed on the rocks. I expected this. I talked about this. I said, don't get your hopes up. I said the same thing that I say every time somebody comes out with a new carnivore documentary. I think they're useful. I think they're good. Unfortunately, none of them, not one, not the first one, of all of them that I've seen in all of these years, has ever made a dent, because it goes against the narrative of the people who pay the bills, make the news, and inform the public. You make a documentary about how bad carnivore is and how it pays to be a vegan and don't eat cows and eat low fat and no salt. You make that documentary, it'll be on the news. It'll be in the theaters, like Forks Over Knives and those kind of things, because that goes along with the narrative of the people who pay the bills and dictate the content. So, no. Food pyramid, nothing burger, in my opinion. Long way to go. Better than the last one, because it at least says you don't have to fear saturated fat. But every TV doctor, every TV doctor is poo-pooing it right now. And they're using saturated fat as a sticking point. And I've watched a number of them on national news programs sitting there saying things like, I don't know, it's dangerous. This is dangerous. It's dangerous. It tells you not that it's okay to eat saturated fat, and then it comes. But everybody knows that saturated fat causes heart disease and other bad things. And it's settled science after 30 or 40 years of extensive studies. It's proven and can't be denied that saturated fat is a killer. And it's irresponsible of them to even hint. And I mean, this is the new narrative. So this is what you're going to hear. It's better. We're better off than we were, but to get the word out and to see any effective change is going to take longer than most of us have on this planet, because the biggest factor involved, and the most important thing that's impossible, would be redoing our entire food supply chain, production, transportation. And right now we cannot provide enough healthy food for 10% of the population, let alone all 8 billion people in this world. There aren't enough cows. There's too many soybeans. There's too much sugar, too much pharma. That stuff takes decades to change. Generational. It took us generations to get as screwed up as we are. It's going to take generations to fix. This is as good as we're going to get now. And for that, I'm grateful at least we got this, because it has to start somewhere. But is America going to be healthy again tomorrow? Don't be naive. Barry Simon reminds me. Barry's always looking out for me. What a guy. Thank you, Barry. You sent me a QR code last night, but I haven't to use. But I haven't had a chance to put it up there this morning. But he wants me to put my Buy Me a Coffee QR code up in a corner of the screen in case anybody wants to help support me, because I have one more thing to announce and a little coffee left. I'm not going to be doing any more members only live streams. I'm not going to be promoting any special deal for people who support my channel by being a channel member. I want people, if they want to be a channel member, to just view that as a way to help an old guy out. $4 a month. Get a green name in the chats, and know that I appreciate that support tremendously. But it doesn't sit right with me. It hasn't sit right with me to make some people more or feel more special than others. It really doesn't. It's something I don't like. It's why I don't join these things. I support other channel people. I give them coffees and things, but I don't become a member. None of us here, none of you here. And Barry Simon, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. It's that big yellow thing up there. But anybody who's a misfit and anybody who is one of the regular viewers is just as valued to me and as good as anybody else. And I'm not like that doctor that we just talked about who wants to charge you for a little extra service. That's YouTube's idea. They promoted it heavily to me early on, a couple of years ago. You need to do this. You need to do this. They earn 30% of that money anyway. the amount of money I get out of it is insignificant to my life. It's not about the money. It is helpful. Right now, I would think the amount I earn from the members community may pay for the cigars that I smoke, but I don't think so. It's not that much. I can live without it. Would I rather live without it? No, of course not. But I don't want to go against my core principles anymore. And Kills came to the same conclusion, and we've talked about this a number of times, about separating people into groups depending on how much money they pay. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, with charging for your services in this world. And if you're a guy like Ken Berry and people need access to you, and you have something so valuable or perceived valuable that people are willing to pay for that, it'd be criminal not to make a living doing that, because nobody should give away their time. But for a guy like me with a small YouTube channel and small, steady following of people who have become friends. And Lewis says, would you prefer channel membership or a recurring buy me a coffee? I would prefer the recurring buy me a coffee, but people don't do that and don't find it. And I'm not going to promote the hell out of that, Lewis. I'm not comfortable with it. I ask people to buy me a coffee. That's fine. But that's not a necessity. And for $4 a month, you get your name in green up there. And occasionally I'll probably feel obligated to do a little something special for those channel members. And this is going to happen. Whatever happens will happen. It's not the most important thing to me. But I do appreciate it. Lewis says, I will do whatever Mitch thinks is better. I want to think some more on that and maybe come up with a way to do it. I think the buy me a coffee thing is just impulsive, spur of the moment thing. I say something that maybe made your day. You throw me a coffee. Jane bought me a coffee just now. Thank you so much, Jane. Wow. Appreciate it. Jane is so generous, and I appreciate her so much. But that means more to me. That means a lot to me. So we're going to leave the thing there. And if people say, well, I only paid the $4 so I could watch the members-only live streams, good news. You can cancel the membership. Believe me, it will not hurt my feeling or affect my life in any way. In any way. And you're still, believe me, just as important, but I'm going to do the live streams now. Open to everybody. Anybody can be on a panel. We'll have better attended, chattier, and more participants in the panel by opening it up. And that to me is a lot more important than what they do everywhere in society and trying to make people feel important, like a VIP. We're all VIPs, every single one of us. Greg Smith bought me 3 coffees. Thank you so much, Greg. Barry Simon. Oh, my God. Barry, you're going to have to legally adopt me one of these days. Barry is I can't say enough good things about Barry. He's up in Boston and an extremely generous guy. I really appreciate it. He bought me 20 coffees this morning. Wow. Thank you, Barry. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you did that, because I got an email from Sam's Club. Hey there, ready to meet these new arrivals? What have we got here? Orange juice, donut shop coffee in a can, cinnamon elephant ears. Holy cow. Pop Secret. Pop Secret. We got deep dish pizza here. Wow, wow. Oh my God. Sublime desserts, macaroons. We got yeah. Is the food company going to help? Thank you, Barry. Thanks so much. Oh man. And thank you for telling me to put the QR code up there because again, it's not the primary thing on my mind. And yes, super chats, super thanks, memberships, anything that YouTube you they take their 30%. And I've talked about that. I don't deny them that because I don't pay a dime to YouTube for the distribution of my stream worldwide and the ability to stream it to have enough bandwidth to stream it to 1 million people if somehow that ever happened. And they got to pay for this. They got to pay for all those data farms and server racks and bandwidth on the internet and undersea cables, and to give me the opportunity for free to make a video that anybody in the world can see if it can get promoted by their algorithm. But I still think there's a lot of value and opportunity for content creators on YouTube, and we should not deny YouTube or Google a chance to generate revenue because they spend fortunes. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Believe me, really am. I really am. Well, it got to be 8 o'clock. What happened? I got off on Greg's question. I'm getting cigars from Cigar Page, Greg. Unbelievable. 8 to 10 emails a day, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. I got to stop. I got enough cigars now for a month or two. I think I need to stop. The one thing I realize is those deals, as good as they sound, will come around again in the not too distant future. There's no such thing as that. I learned this from the health spa, from the gym in my neighborhood as a kid when I grew up, and I had a sign up front, and the sign said, final 7 days. They had a membership deal. It was only good. The final 7 days. And when I first saw that sign, I felt compelled to go in there and not miss out on this terrific deal. And it wasn't until 10 or 15 years later, driving by the same sign that still said final 7 days and had never been changed, that I said, yeah, it figures. And since then, anytime there's a time limit on a sale, we feel compelled to not miss out. That's just clever marketing and plays on our emotions. And they always come around again. And if you don't need something right then, you don't need it. It's tough. It's almost an addiction to resist the temptation to buy it just because you're going to save so much money. Anthony's here. Hi, Anthony. How are you? I see your name up there. I'll tell you what, my friends, I think we've come upon it. And Kelsey manages to get out right on the money every morning. I guess I got work to do. Peter, thank you, Peter, for helping out in the chat. Somebody must have asked, what does OGC stand for? It can stand for anything you want it to. But it's Old Guy Carnivore. And my handle, when I do chat, my official YouTube handle even though I changed my channel name, is still at OldGuyCarnivore. So my email address, my website. So I haven't divorced myself completely from that name, but I wanted my YouTube name to be able to encompass a broader range of subjects under the umbrella of healthy aging, which we're all trying desperately to do. Peter says, Mitch, remember, if you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah. Oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Anthony says, your kids are going to piss it away anyway. That's funny. All right, my friends, I'll tell you what, if I missed, I'm going to really quick look for any questions that I may have missed, any QQQs. QQQ. Don't see any. I've gone back about half an hour so far. So I'll leave today almost convinced that I didn't miss anybody. If I missed saying hello to you, hello. Say goodbye to your friends in the chat. Little happy music to do that too. Be back tomorrow night, Saturday Night Live. And let's see if we can build up these live streams. And in the meantime, I'm trying to ramp myself back up into the mood to start making some standalone videos, or maybe some videos that have the best of some of the live streams, because occasionally I go off on a rant that I would rather have in a standalone video that has a chance of being seen by more people than just a live stream. A lot of people do that. Anthony Chafee does that all the time. Ken Berry does. So why not me? Why not me? Anyway, Tuka, good to see you this morning. Good to see you. Jean-Marc Bordeaux, I hope to be ready and go on the live tomorrow. That'd be great. That'd be great. I want to see some new faces in there. Not that I'm getting tired of Peter and Lewis and Tuka, but I'd like to see some new faces. Tammy Vitarch, goodbye. Tammy, see you tomorrow. Peter, Boston, Danny, Golf Addict. Who else we got here? Mike Sealy in Melbourne here says goodbye. Rick, see you tomorrow. Spanky's waving like crazy. Good luck with your colonoscopy today, my friend. And at any rate, with all that being said, and the music ending, I will give you my daily wisdom. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.